How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a really good day. When I was a kid, there was this little alleyway that ran behind my house. And then below that was another small, almost street called Walker Street. The difference between those two is that Walker Street, even though it was pretty much an alleyway itself, was paved. Ours, on the other hand, was covered with broken slate, broken shale, and culm, which is the waste material that's left behind when coal is burned. If you're old enough to have heated your house with a coal furnace and you've ever had to drag out tubs of ashes, that's pretty much what culm is, only it's usually the leftovers of industrial grade coal. If you've ever been to Northeast Pennsylvania or to any other place that mines a lot of coal, you've seen, no doubt, these big piles of this reddish ash that's mixed through with bits and pieces of other material like sulfur, maybe a little bit of iron, whatever. It tends to be impure. And it gets piled up, crushed, and usually dumped back into the mines if there's a mine fire to help put it out. The borough that I lived in, they crushed it up and sprinkled it on the roads in winter, just like we dumped the tubs of ashes from our coal furnaces on the sidewalks when there was a lot of snow. So anyway, between these two alleyways was this field. And for the most part, it was all wild grass and weeds. As a kid, I used to play there all the time, catching grasshoppers and just kicking around in it to see what I could find. And one day I was out walking in it, and someone had buried a metal 55-gallon drum on its side under the grass. They dug a hole, threw the barrel in, and filled the hole with dirt. And apparently that barrel had rusted out, and I stepped on it and fell through right up to my thigh. And I remember screaming out because it scared me, and some of my friends ran and got my father. And he was able to bend back the barrel and to get my leg out, and I didn't even have a cut on me. And this was razor sharp, rusted metal. So it could have been pretty serious. At any rate, as I look back over that now, I realized that that was one of the times in my life, and there were many, when there was something looking out for me. I've spoken plainly many times about the circumstances of my life, the difficulties that I faced as a child, the behavior patterns I've had to work with and try to overcome as an adult. But through it all, regardless of how dark any of those times have been, there is part of me that's continuously aware of the fact that there's something larger than myself that's carried me through that. And if you're here now, if you're listening to this, if you get out of bed, put your feet on the floor, and get up every morning, walk through and work through the circumstances of your life, even if it's one breath at a time. If you're still here, then something is carrying you too. It's no doubt that we're living through some pretty dark shit right now in our country. And it's easy to say, well, we're better than that, or we're not like this. But the truth of the matter is, we're not better than that. And we are like this. Maybe not in total. But if we really were better than this, if we really weren't like this, things wouldn't be the way they are right now. And that's when it comes down to surrender. And so many people are afraid of that term because they think that surrender means giving up, but that's not what I'm talking about. By surrender, I'm talking about the radical and unflinching acceptance of the way things are within the world and within ourselves. It means looking at our behavior on a personal level, on a national level, on a world level, looking at it really, really hard and not denying it. Not rewriting history, not tearing down statues, national or even personal ones. Understanding that we are capable of some pretty horrific things. And then rising above them. That's not easy to do. It's easy to hate. It's easy to lash out. It's easy to take those things inside ourselves that we don't like and project them onto others, and then attack others as if we ourselves didn't carry those same traits deep within. It requires a lot of strength to rise above these things. But that's the gift that those things can bring us. Strength. Not the brittle strength of bullies and tyrants. Not the brittle strength of self-righteousness. But the soft, gentle, unwavering strength of compassion built on self-love and love for others. So what can we do in these times? The times of our own recovery, and the times when we're faced with these things on a national and a global level. Not all of us are going to be called to grander actions. Not all of us are going to be called to stand in front of crowds. But we can be an ally. We can be a friend. We can shovel someone's sidewalk. We can be a safe place for someone to land. Someone who's finding it difficult just to get through the day, because we know what that feels like. We can sit with others without judgment. We can build bridges. We can be a quiet shelter for someone who needs it. That's how we carry our gifts into the world. We can stand firmly and gently, or we can lash out in rage and anger. Either way, the choice and the consequences are entirely up to us. Till next time.